We also like to talk to consummate experts, subject matter experts that can describe the opportunity that we are missing, the opportunity that we've been redlined out of, and also discuss the opportunity as it relates to finance and the opportunity for us to move forward as a community with some demands. Gary, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. How's it going?
Come on, brother. I am so proud of what you're doing. Obviously, you're in the forefront. I really anticipated somebody sending you at least, a couple 100 million at this moment.
It's expected. We'll see.
Network that you're putting together. Why don't you, for those who don't know, obviously describe the opportunity, describe your business and your position.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me. Always appreciate, when we get the opportunity to talk about what it is that we do to the masses, educate both content creators and of course business folks. So for those that don't know me, my name is Gary Coichy. I am the founder and CEO of Pod Digital Media. Pod Digital Media is the first multicultural podcast network giving advertisers access to the multicultural segment, primarily African Americans and Hispanics, within the podcast ecosystem. So in a sense, we bridge the gap between those that have a podcast and we connect them with blue chip advertisers. Some of our current clients currently involved, but not limited to HBO, Showtime, Ford, AT&T, Toyota, you name it, from CPG brands to a lot of B2B brands like LinkedIn. We work with them in ensuring that we're placing their ads and integrating them as part of the process, as part of the conversations to podcasters that speaks to the multicultural segment.
So when you think about that opportunity, thank you so much. What makes you see this is a huge opportunity? How can our community understand that really you should have been purchased by now?
Right. I think it's just like everything else, the same way we talk to our podcasters. When people that create a podcast and say, hey, I want you to help me monetize it, the first thing that we ask them is for the data, right? Like who's listening to you? Is it just you and your family members, or do you actually have an engaged audience? So I think for us, it's the exact same thing. We just celebrated our two-year anniversary last week. We're very excited about it. And despite the pandemic, we're still on track to exceeding the goals that we have for this year. So I think it's just a matter of repetition builds reputation. So we're on track to continue to do what we're currently doing right now. And without a doubt, I'm very optimistic and confident when the time is right, we'll certainly partner with the right company. And we'll get that 200 million that you're talking about.
Well, I say that, but there have been some huge podcast purchases. There have been some media purchases, and my conversation is redlining in the advertising business is huge. And so for me, it's you being able to have the level of investment in advance so that you can invest, build, and it's kind of a critical component of even having reparations in the ad space.
Right. I mean, for me personally, my background, I've worked at all those large agencies, right? So I was on the media side where I was the guy that was buying those plans from publications like yourself, the BETs, the Essence of the World, Facebook, Google, you name it, Twitter. So I was leading those teams, the media buying teams, to buy different ad space. So I think that has helped me understand that process. Now that we're on the vendor side, we actually have something to offer those agencies. How do we make sure that our product is viable enough so that we can end up on the media plan? It's not easy. You need to have, just like everything else, relationship is everything. So it's just been a matter of making sure that we're knocking on every door, no stone is left unturned, and talking about the value proposition that we have and those that we represent, which is the multicultural segment, which has a $3.1 billion, $1 trillion buying power. So therefore, again, it's presenting them with that data, presenting them with the facts, and continually doing it so that we can avoid like the redlining that you speak of, so that we're not left out of those media plans, so some dollars can be funneled through a platform.
Yeah, and I get it. But part of what I'm sharing is even when people came up with the term total market, and all of a sudden total market is big. The other thing is, given at this moment, just investing in a platform like yours and the podcasters, because it's about community, it's about jobs, it's about talent that you can see, it's about vision and actually creating audio experiences that people could not be anticipating that you clearly could actually foresee, invest in, and bring to life, and not having a CMO who trusts your vision and give you the time, like the
Right.
3-year deal, so that you got 3 years, you got $3 million, and you're literally, whatever the CPM, whatever the metrics of KPIs are, you're able to do it. But you know that as a CEO, I've got $3 million commitment. I can actually go grab the talent that I'm looking for to add to my network.
Right. No, 100%. And that's exactly what we're in, that's exactly what we're telling, we're telling the CMOs and those media buyers is, look, your company is, especially in this current climate, your company is putting out black boxes and saying how much you support, the African American community. Look, we would like to see action with that. We would like to see you follow suit with actually media commitment investments within the black community. And everything that's been currently happening is, I personally wrote a letter, and I sent the letter to the advertising community. I sent it one to the podcasters that I represent and says, hey, this is your moment. This is not the time for you to not put out content. We need you to speak up. We need you to talk about your experiences. And then on the flip side, I reached out to the media agencies and advertisers. I says, hey, look, our community is hurting right now. And if you're saying you're going to invest and you want to support the African American community, come to us with real investments. Don't come to us with one-off investments. You invest in one show, you invest in a few podcasts, and you do it for a week or two, and then they don't hear from you until the next year when you feel like it's Black History Month or it's a cause that you feel like the African American community is going to back you up on. We need long-term investments, similarly to how you're approaching the Facebooks and the Googles of the world, and you're investing heavily into those platforms. We have the same opportunity here because we have the audience that's very engaged and that has the buying power. So it's a message that it's certainly a tone that I personally I'm fully invested in. I've rubbed a few feathers by putting that out there, but in return we're seeing some of those agencies are responding and want to partner with us. And I don't want to do it solely within. I'm sorry.
Send me that letter so we can actually.
Sure, I'll send that to you. I'll send it to you. But yeah, we're seeing that they're coming back now and saying, hey. Okay, yeah, we will support you. As soon as we put out the letter, we signed a new deal. We signed a long-term deal with AT&T through the rest of the year. So they've responded positively. And we just, as of last week, we just signed a programmatic PMP deal with Group M, with Group M's Mindshare. You by Kotex, which is a Kimberly-Clark brand, has responded. So they're supporting us. So we're seeing some of the changes. So which is why now I'm saying as Black African Americans media owners that have a platform, we have to speak up. We have to speak up. I think for so long we've been quiet. We've been complaining within our circles, on the networks of other Black CEOs, but never to the people that are actually going to sign the checks. And I think now this is a moment that we have to capitalize on to say, hey, you need us and we need you, and we need your investments.
I think what you saying makes a huge point, but also those listeners of the podcast.
Right.
Begin to say and demand, we are receipt shareholders. Anything that we spend our dollars against should at some point have an investment in the media vehicles that we own as well.
100%. I agree 100%.
So audio, how do you see audio growing right now in this community?
I mean, it's growing tremendously. I mean, you have to remember, let's talk a bit about influencer marketing. Influencer marketing right now is a $10 billion industry. And that's just really brands leveraging influencers with large following, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, to promote their products. If we go back, the real influencer is the radio VJ. I mean, from the parties to the type of car and type of clothes that you are, that we were wearing, we heard it from the radio. We heard it on the radio from the radio guys. So they were the true influencers. So then now let's fast forward to where we're currently at right now. We're in the digital age. We're not, sitting around and going to an AM or FM stations, but we can easily access our favorite radio VJ or favorite athlete or favorite sports person. We can tune in and listen to them based on from a podcast perspective or even from their digital channels. So that being said, audio has taken over the influencer space, because now when we talk to brands, we're not saying audio will be your point of entry because those personalities have created a podcast, they have a show, but for the most part, they also have, you can fully buy into, because they also have those other social channels that you can fully buy into as well. So I think, and the numbers that came out as of 2 weeks ago, that podcast as an industry is on track to reach $1 billion as far as revenue is concerned. Radio right now is currently still a $16 billion industry. So when you think of that trajectory from being 100 million just a few years ago to now it's currently at $1 billion, and you're looking at radio that's at $1 billion, you can already see the growth. So I think audio is actually going to play a much important roles in our lives than we previously did within the last few years, because we're so focused on the Instagrams and the Facebooks of the world and watching videos on YouTube. But then now you can multitask while you listen to a radio show. You can, while you're cleaning the house, while you're working, you can have it in the background, which is why now the popularity of audiobooks have been taken off. So audio is playing a huge role. And then let's add on the facts that we have the smart speakers, you have your Alexas, you have your Google Homes. That's how the audio process that's been digitized, that's making it much easier for us to access the audio content that we need to hear.
That's my long pause. So, shouting out the network, who are your big three podcasters that have joined you and have been with you for the last 2 years?
Sure. So we work with Angela Yee Lip Service. She has a nationally syndicated show on Power 105, which is part of iHearts, but she has her own show that's called Lip Service. We work with, TV legend Ed Lover. His podcast is called Come On Son. We work with him. We work with Charlemagne's Brilliant Idiots. We've done some work with Jackie Reed and Jordan Reed on their podcast that's called Read This, Read That. And then now we're working with the NBPA, and they're putting together a list of active NBA players that's willing to create their own podcast content, and our team has exclusive rights to those podcasts. So we work with a total of 400 podcasters, but some of those podcasts, sometimes they're in season, sometimes they're not in season. So we typically see about between 60 to 80 podcasters that keep getting that we keep working with over and over again. Simply the fact that they understand the value of putting content out consistently. But we have a great.
Send me my deal.
I'm sorry?
Send me my deal, coach.
We work with Dr. Joy, which is she's a trained psychologist. It's called Therapy for Black Girls. She has a great platform. We work with Switch, Pivot, or Quit. Ayana Angel is also a very popular motivational speaker that helps African American women know how to start their business, switch from corporate America to entrepreneurial lane. So we work with a lot of podcasters, and we're always in the market space looking for more podcasters with great content. As long as you do agree that you put out content consistently, so we can leverage your inventory for advertisers.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a great idea when I heard about it. Look forward to joining the idea. As a CEO, how would you describe your leadership style in this industry?
In this industry, specifically as the first multicultural podcast network, and we have taken on that leadership role to educate the masses about not only the power of podcasts as a platform, but additionally the power of the multicultural segment. So it's certainly a role that I take very seriously for the education aspect of it, because we don't want you to keep hearing it Black people buy, Black people buy. No, we're going to tell you why Black people buy. We're going to tell you that this is how the best way to partner with the Black people. You can buy clicks, you can buy views, but you can't buy culture. And we're showing you how to do that. So it's a role that I take very seriously. I have a flexible mindset, so I may come into this conversation thinking I know something is one way, but you might educate me, and I'll leave here knowing that your way is the best way, and I'll be completely okay with that. So as a CEO, with my internal team, definitely have that flexible mindset. I don't know everything, and I'm always looking to learn. And at the same time, when it comes to the advertisers, to the agencies, I take that position very seriously in educating them as to the best way they can partner with us.
So for those individuals, because I'm sure it's millions that want to start a podcast, what are the three you would say?
If you want to start a podcast, just like everything else, what's your why? Why are you creating a podcast? Do you want to create a podcast because you feel, the conversation that you have at home should be broadcasted and people can benefit from it? Is it because you've always wanted to be a radio VJ? What's the purpose of the podcast? And then who are you going to target with your podcast? Who's going to listen to it? And then 3 is, how are you going to grow your podcast numbers? What's the plan? What's the strategy? What is the strategy for that? People come to us all the time that says, hey, me and my friends, we have all these great conversations. We want to start a podcast. We're getting ready to launch it. What's it? Great. Just get it going. Don't tell us about it. Just go ahead and do it. And then they'll launch the podcast. And then 3 weeks later, we'll look for the content. We'll say, how's the podcast going? Oh, we stopped doing it. Why did you stop doing it? Well, the numbers are not going fast enough, and schedules, etc. So clearly you weren't committed enough to launch your podcast. So now those conversations go from 30 minutes to now to 5 minutes, because we know the right questions to ask to understand how serious you are about creating a podcast. So if you want to create a podcast, is know your why. Why are you creating it? What type of content you're going to put out there, and who are you looking to target with that content? And then once you have those identified and you're actually truly committed, we can start working with you. We can say, okay, based on what you're creating, we can start aligning you with the right advertisers that can come in and sponsor your show and help you monetize it, so that galvanizes you, that gets you excited to keep creating more content.
Super. Well, I appreciate you coming on. We're going to have to do a CEO lunch and learn so we can actually bring podcasters together. Just wanted to connect and make sure that my community knew that you were definitely a leader in the industry. So hats off, congratulations on your 2-year anniversary. When we refer to rolling out, we just refer to rolling out the brand now. We literally don't say publication, because we are clearly on all digital platforms, including TV. And obviously, we're figuring out our audio strategy as well. But when you're out there selling this, we just want people to think of rolling out the brand, kind of like Nike, because we don't just do print, obviously. At the same time, when we are thinking of you, I just want people to know the leader in the industry, in our community, and to see you as such, because it's very important that we ally behind one individual in our community so that they can know we do have a spokesperson, we do have a subject matter expert like yourself who is growing culturally honest and with integrity content. So thanks so much, Gary.
Absolutely, Monson. Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with your folks on your platform. And I look forward to more conversations that will educate our people as to the best way to get into the podcast space.
Well, I look forward to you. I'm going to have my people reach out for you for sure. But like I said, you have made a wealth of difference. I think as an entrepreneur, your innovative spirit and approaching a subject, it's no longer appointment TV. Appointment audio is much better. And the fact that you're giving jobs to those and monetizing content that could have just been sitting idly, it's commendable. So I want to thank you again. And I appreciate you for coming on a seat at the table.
Absolutely. Much appreciated, sir. Have a good one.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
For all of you that have the opportunity to understand, following and knowing what a difference a Gary makes is key. Knowing that being able to say that we have subject matter experts in the area of podcasting is key, but also making sure that corporations support individuals who are and have created networks like Gary that have Angela Rye, have some of the best Black content, Black audio podcasters in the nation. It deserves a big investment. It deserves a multi-year contract, but it also deserves an opportunity and a seat at the table. I'm Munson Steed, and you don't have to be in the streets, but you do have to be in the struggle. Peace.